With all the digital tools we have now, it's never been easier to track what's going on with our communications. We can see every click, every open, every view, almost in real time. But that's actually created a whole new and I think much trickier problem for businesses. Exactly. The issue isn't a lack of data anymore. It's almost an overabundance of it. The real challenge, and this is something that's laid out really well in Strategic Brand Management by Alexander Chernov, is having the wisdom to track the right things. We're drowning in data, but are we actually looking at the metrics that move the needle? And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're a leader trying to justify marketing spend or figure out what's working, you have to answer this. It's not about just tracking activity, it's about proving impact. How do you actually connect the dots between a campaign and a real business outcome? Well, to even begin to answer that, you need a solid framework. You can't just pick a few metrics out of thin air and hope for the best. The key is to build a logical structure, a kind of ladder, that links what you're measuring day to day directly back to your big picture business goals. Right, and this three-step ladder is a super clear way to think about it. It gives you a logical path. First, you have to create awareness. Do people even know you exist? Then, step two, you build preference. Do they think your brand is the best choice for them? And finally, the third step, you drive action. Do they actually buy something, click the link, or sign up? So let's start at the bottom of that ladder, awareness. This is way more than just counting impressions or reach. It's really about answering a few fundamental questions. Did your audience actually see the message? Did they get it? And this is the big one, can they remember it later on? And that recall piece is so crucial. There's a world of difference between the two types. Aided recall is like giving someone a hint. You show them a list of car brands and ask, have you seen an ad for any of these? But unaided recall, that's when you just ask, hey, what car ads can you think of that you've seen recently? Coming up with a brand off the top of your head like that is a much stronger signal that the brand is really stuck with you. Yeah, but this points to a really common strategic trap. Those awareness metrics, website visits, social media impressions, they're so tempting. They're immediate, they're easy to put in a report, and when the numbers go up, it feels like you're winning. But it can be a total illusion because awareness is just step one. It's like celebrating that people know your restaurant exists, but you never bother to check if anyone actually wants to eat there. So let's climb to that next rung, because this is where it gets a lot more interesting. Measuring preference is about something way deeper. It's about figuring out if your communication is actually changing how customers think and feel about your brand. Are you genuinely shifting their beliefs in your favor? And there are a few solid ways to get at this. You can do surveys before and after a campaign to see if perceptions moved. You can do choice tracking, where you ask people to pick their preferred brand from a lineup. Heck, you can even use AI on social media to analyze sentiment. But one of the most common methods is also the simplest, just measuring how much people liked the ad itself. But here's the massive catch with that last one. Just because someone likes your ad doesn't mean they're going to like your brand anymore. You can have a hilarious commercial that wins all the awards, but if it doesn't actually make people think more positively about the product, well, then it didn't really do its job of building preference, did it? The goal isn't just entertainment. Exactly. And this slide really gets at why measuring preference is so much harder than measuring awareness. It's not happening in a nice, clean laboratory. A customer's opinion is being hit from all sides, all the time, by their own past experiences, by what your competitors are shouting about, and of course by what their friends and family are saying. Trying to isolate the impact of your one campaign in all that noise, it's incredibly difficult. Which brings us to the top of the ladder, the final, and let's be honest, the most important stage, measuring behavior. This is where the rubber meets the road. Did all that effort to create awareness and build preference actually lead to a customer doing something tangible? We're talking about purchases, sure, but also clicks, store visits, demo requests, real actions. Right, and this is the question you always hear from the boardroom, from the CFO. This is all fascinating, but just show me the sales figures. At the end of the day, isn't that the only number that really matters? And look, it's a fair question, but it misses the bigger picture. It totally misses the picture. The problem with making sales your only metric is the brand building doesn't work like a light switch you just flick on and off. Its impact is often delayed. The ad somebody sees today might not influence their purchase until 6 months from now. And in those 6 months, a million other things, price changes, a new competitor, a holiday promotion, have also happened, making it nearly impossible to say, ah yes, that one ad caused this sale. And that just leads us straight into one of the thorniest problems in modern marketing, the whole attribution challenge. How do you accurately give credit where credit is due? How do you figure out which parts of your campaign actually contributed to that final sale? This is where attribution bias comes in. It's this natural human tendency to give all the credit to the things that are easiest to measure. The final click on a Google search ad right before a purchase. That's crystal clear. You can track it, so it gets all the glory. But what about the podcast sponsorship or the great article that made the customers search for your brand in the first place? Those are much fuzzier. This chart shows it perfectly. Online search ads get this huge slice of the credit because that link to the final sale is direct and easy to see. But meanwhile, things like sponsoring an event or a great piece of PR, which did all the heavy lifting of building awareness and preference, they often get next to no credit because their impact is indirect and way harder to put a number on. And that is the absolute key. That final measurable click-through doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's the very last step of a long journey that was supported by everything else. The PR hit is what made the person aware. The event sponsorship made the brand seem cool and trustworthy. And that's what led them to eventually search for the brand and click on that ad. So, if you want a true picture of how effective you are, you have to look beyond that last click. You really have to take a holistic view and pick a mix of metrics that captures the unique contribution of each and every activity, from the very top of the funnel all the way to the bottom. It's all about understanding how these pieces work together. And that really leaves us with a challenge for everyone. Go look at your own marketing dashboard. Does it tell the whole story? Does it actually capture that journey from awareness to preference to action? Or does it fall into that classic trap of only giving credit to what's simple to measure? Because building a dashboard that shows what's really happening, that's the ultimate goal.